Start.
Great. All right. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, everyone, for attending. So good evening. It is 6:34 p.m. And I'd like to call the September 8th, 2021 City of Brisbane Parks and Rec Commission meeting to order. This meeting is compliant with the Governor's Executive Order N821 issued on June 21st, 2021, allowing for deviation of teleconference rules required by the Brown Act. The purpose of this is to provide the safest environment for staff, commissioners, and the public while allowing for public participation. The public may address the council using exclusively remote public comment options. The commission may take action on any item listed in the agenda, The Parks and Recreation Commission meeting will be an exclusively hybrid virtual meeting. Is that right? Members of the public may view the meeting by logging into the Zoom webinar listed via Zoom, meeting ID 920-4174-1911, passcode 123456, or on Comcast channel 27 or the city's YouTube channel at youtube.com/Brisbane CA. The agenda materials may be viewed online at brisbaneca.org/meetings, MEETINGS. To address the commission, members of the public are encouraged to submit written comments before the meeting. Members of the public who join the live Zoom webinar may address the commission in the meeting when called upon by the chairperson. Please use the chat box in Zoom to alert staff that you want to address the commission. Members of the public watching the meeting on YouTube or channel 27 may email or text comments prior to the start of the particular agenda. The email is jfranco@brisbaneca.org or text 628-219-2912. A call-in number is also available for those watching the meeting on YouTube or channel 27 for oral communications and public hearing items. Phone number is 669-900-9128 with the meeting ID 920-4174-1911. All right, let's see. All right, so we can go ahead and call to order. The next item is a roll call.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Chairperson Ocampo?
Present.
Commissioner Greenlee? Present. Commissioner Bolo?
Here, present.
Can't hear you, Sarah.
Present.
Commissioner Kern?
Present.
Commissioner Sims?
Present.
Okay. So now the next item is adoption of agenda. So are there any deletions, additions, changes? If not,
I move that we approve the adoption of the agenda.
I second.
Okay. All right. And then
agenda, Chairperson Ocampo? Is a vote, right?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, you're cutting off.
Why is my mic being weird? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner or Chairperson Ocampo?
Approve.
Commissioner Greenlee?
Approve.
Commissioner Bologoff?
Approve.
Commissioner Kern?
Aye.
Commissioner Sims?
Approve.
So the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes of July 14th.
I second.
Okay.
Okay, so to approve the minutes from July 14th, Chairperson Ocampo?
Aye.
Commissioner Greenlee? Commissioner Bologoff,
Aye.
Commissioner Kern,
Aye.
and Commissioner Sims.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. So the next item are there any citizen communications?
At this time, there are not citizen communications.
Got it. The next item are presentations. So the overview of the department's child care programs.
All right, good evening, everybody. So pre-pandemic, we had staff provide the commission with an update regarding several different program areas. And so we thought that it would be a good time to go ahead and pick those back up. And so tonight we have with us Scott Morris. He was introduced to the commission at our last meeting. He's our new recreation coordinator, and he's currently overseeing our after school program and oversaw our summer camp program as well. So he's gonna share some information with you about the childcare programs over the past year and a half or so. And I think Sarah's gonna jump in as well to provide some information about preschool. So I will go ahead and turn it over to them.
Hello, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Do I have screen sharing permissions yet? I don't know. Oh, share screen. Okay. I want it to be that one. Is it working? Can you all see the presentation over here? Okay. For some reason, it shrunk everybody on Zoom, but I will power through. Okay. Hello, everybody. Like Noreen said, my name is Scott Morris. I'm currently overseeing various childcare programs that are going on in Brisbane. And as sort of a recap of some statistics and information about our summer program, as well as a look into how our fall programs are going so far, Sarah and I put together this little presentation to share with all of you. So the first section is going to be a recap of summer camp. Here's some statistics about our attendance numbers. So our summer camp was 8 weeks long, and it was split into 4 sessions, each lasting 2 weeks. We started the summer with sessions 1 and 2 capped at a maximum of 60 campers. And then throughout the summer, we were able to slowly increase that maximum limit once COVID restrictions and regulations changed with the county. Halfway through for our 3rd session, we were able to increase it to 75. And then for the last session, we increased it again to 85 campers. I went through and kind of looked through, how long campers were being enrolled for: 1 session, 2 sessions, 3 sessions, or 4 sessions. So here you can see a majority of our students or our campers. I apologize, I keep saying students. I'm in school mode right now. A majority of our campers stayed the largest group stayed for just 1 session, just kind of expected. People go on vacations or have other plans during summer. So this is just kind of a way to get the kids out of the house for a brief period of time. But a large section of our campers, 27 of our campers did stay for all 4 sessions. So we did have a fair amount of kids staying with us for the whole program. Obviously, something they would still go on vacation for a few days or a week or whatnot. But they were still enrolled in our program for the entire time. Overall, through the summer, we served 112 individual campers, which after a whole year of having maybe 12 kids in our program, it was definitely nice to see so many faces, both new and familiar, come through our program. So this chart is our attendance numbers throughout the whole summer. So these blue lines each represent the total number of campers. So here in these 2 sections, can you all see my mouse? Okay, good. So I'm not just flailing out in the distance. In our first 2 sections, when our numbers were lower, we were averaging about 52 to 55 kids per day. Down here, I have there were 59 students or campers enrolled out of our maximum of 60. In session 2, it was 55 enrolled out of a maximum of 60. Session 3, we had 74 enrolled out of a maximum of 75. And session 4, we had 84 enrolled out of a maximum of 85. Up here, this red line represents the average number, the percentage of students that attended camp on each particular day. So we can see some of these big dips are pretty explainable. This day right here is the Friday right before 4th of July weekend. So we were expecting a lot of people to be gone for the long weekend. A lot of these dips are on either a Monday or Friday, as people tended to take longer weekends throughout the summer as well. You can see also from the trend line that at the beginning of summer, people were a lot more excited to come. Maybe it was their first time being around other kids in quite some time. So we had a higher percentage of campers attending at the beginning of summer, tailed off a little bit as people were kind of planning their end of summer activities, last minute trips and things like that. But still a pretty strong showing. We never dipped below 70% attendance. So we were really, really proud of the fact that we were continuing to get kids come into our program every day. And that stayed strong throughout the whole summer. So towards the end of the summer, we came up with a parent feedback survey to just get some statistics, some information about how well parents thought the summer went, get feedback from them, from kids about things we can improve on, things they thought we did well. So this first one was asking parents if this was their first year sending a child to camp, all the way up to 5 or more years. This survey, we obviously, we didn't reach all 112. We feel like we got a decent enough sample of parents responding to be able to get some interesting numbers from this. So as you can see from this graph, a lot of first-time campers with us this summer. We also just kind of noticed that just by observation from staff, a lot of new faces that we weren't familiar with, a lot of kids coming from out of town whose summer programs maybe weren't comfortable opening up yet, so they came over to Brisbane. But we also have a fair amount of kids that have been with us for a long time. A lot of families that have older siblings that are now sending their younger siblings to camp with us as well. So a big chunk on both ends of the spectrum. So for those families who are joining us for the first time, we asked them how they heard about our program. Unsurprisingly, our biggest marketing scheme is word of mouth. Brisbane's a small community, so people tend to talk about what their kids are up to. There's not a ton of options around us for childcare, so getting good testimonials from happy families is our best way of marketing our program. But also, also a fair amount of people finding out about our programs from our website. So it's good to see that we're getting traffic through there, also attracting people from our city website as well. So we asked parents how they thought the COVID procedures and precautions were communicated to them. At the beginning of every session, myself and Ricardo Monroy, who also helped out with overseeing summer programs, we would send out emails to the parents, letting them know what to expect. We sent it out to all the parents, so that way, the new or the parents that were families that were still with us could see if there were any changes in procedures and precautions, and also so that the families that were just joining us for the first time would be aware of what our procedures were as well. As you can see, most families were pretty happy with the job we did communicating to them. On all these upcoming charts, 1 was labeled as needs significant improvement, 5 was labeled as excellent. So as you can see, a lot of families pretty happy with the job that we did. We did get some specific comments. Most parents said they obviously preferred when their kids were outside for safety measures, but they were glad to see that we were still doing things like temperature checks, enforcing masks as much as possible, things like that. A lot of parents obviously realize that it's difficult to keep all the kids monitored at all times, but they appreciate the job that the staff did throughout the summer in that regard. How would you rate your children's experience, or how did the children rate their experience with our summer camp staff? Again, as you can see, most kids were very satisfied with their experience with us. Obviously, it's not going to, we're not going to reach every child in the same manner. So we did our best to smooth over any bumps that we encountered, but overall, me and the staff feel that we did a very good job of interacting with the kids. In this particular part of the survey, a lot of kids named out specific staff members that they personally connected with over the summer. So it was great to see a sampling of all the different staff that various kids tend to gravitate towards. They said they had a great time with all the various activities. They especially liked going to the pool. It was nice that we were able to go to the pool twice a week, just our group, not having to worry about interfering with any other rec swim people that were there. That was also a very big hit this summer as well. And now I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Sarah, who's going to talk a little bit about how preschool went this summer.
So we started our summer preschool at Mission Blue because our summer camp was in the new building. So, and we had a little bit shorter time. So we did 6 weeks with 3 sessions, again, with the longer sessions this year because of COVID. We got to welcome back our teacher, Miss Marcella, who has been with us for over 10 years. She was working with Scott last school year, kind of behind the scenes, remotely, but it was her first time to come back in person. So we were really excited to have her back. The first 2 sessions, we had 17 participants, and the last one we had 18. About 30% are non-residents and 70 were residents.
Summer camp ended in mid-August. We had a few days to prepare for the upcoming school year. Then we jumped right back into it with our club rec program after school. So here's a breakdown of our current attendance statistics. So we have 94 students enrolled in our after school program, which was a pretty big jump considering what we had at the beginning of the summer. But luckily we were able to kind of slowly ramp up over the last couple of sessions to prepare for more kids to come in. And also, very fortunately, a majority of our summer camp staff also remained with us for after school as well, which was a big help. Both the fact that we had more personnel there to oversee the kids, but also that the kids had all summer to make these bonds with our staff, and they get to continue seeing them throughout the school year as well. We've only been back for about 12 days of after school, but over those 12 days, we've been averaging just over 74 kids a day. So pretty solidly getting about 3/4 of the students coming straight from after school to our program. Some students still aren't coming yet because their parents are still a little bit worried about the COVID restrictions. Some students only come a few days a week because they have sports or parent work schedules they can pick up earlier, things like that. So not every child comes every day, but we're still getting a pretty good chunk of our students that are enrolled coming to our program. Just a quick breakdown of the age groups in our program. We have 16 kindergartners, 22 first graders, 19 second graders, 18 third graders, 11 fourth graders, and 8 fifth graders. Of our 16 kindergartners, 7 of them participated in some preschool program in the 2020-2021 school year. So that was either the fall and spring preschool program that we provided or the summer preschool program that Sarah just mentioned as well. So it's nice to see that we're getting these kids early and retaining them to some extent through our programs. And also I wanted to note that 42% of our program participants are under the age of 7. So that would be our kindergartners and our first graders. So we have a very large group of young students who we hope will continue throughout our programs for the years to come. For those of you who aren't familiar with our Club Rec program, I just wanted to give a quick overview of that as well. So we're an after school program, Brisbane Elementary School. The students are released in kind of waves. So at 2 o'clock, the kindergartners get out. We'll go get the kindergartners from the classroom, bring them over to our building where we have circle time, where it's just them talking to the leaders about how their day went. And then they have a chance to get balls and activities and things like that on the playground before all the older kids come and grab their stuff. So it works out well that they get out first. At 2:30, the first, second, and third graders are released. And then at 3 p.m., the fourth and fifth graders are released. On Wednesdays, all the students are released at 2 o'clock, so it gets a little bit more chaotic. But at this point, we've kind of figured out a good system for lining them all up right when they get out of the classroom. So from 2 o'clock to about 3:15, we could just kind of let the kids play on the playground. We've got basketball, soccer balls, bouncy balls, all sorts of stuff for them to play with. During that time, we also let kids do homework. When they come into the classroom, still trying to keep up with COVID precautions, we open up all the windows. We have 2 HVAC systems in the building, so we can keep the air circulating very efficiently. So just to mitigate as much COVID concern as possible while the students are doing their homework. Starting at 3:15, we gather them all up for announcements. So that could just be reminders of upcoming events, things that we've noticed from the past couple of days, reviewing the rules and things like that if anything needs to be addressed. And we also provide them with a prepackaged snack. So that could be like a bag of goldfish or a pouch of applesauce, things like that. Students are also welcome to bring snacks from home, or if they didn't finish their lunch, they can do that as well. Starting at 3:45 and for the next hour, our recreation leaders lead activities. So typically we have 2 activities per day. We'll split the students up by age groups. That way, if it's like a more physical game, the older kids, could play with them, their appropriate age group, and the younger kids can play with their appropriate age group and things like that. And then free play for the rest of the day until they are picked up by their parents. So we try to provide as much opportunity for them to get outside. They've been in class all day. We want them to run around, get all their energy out before they go home to their parents. And then Sarah's back again for a look at our preschool program.
So we just started our school year preschool yesterday, and it was super exciting. We had 20 participants yesterday, and then today we had 21. So this was our first time back in the new childcare modular that was brought in 2020. And it's been super awesome having the bathrooms really close. We have much less accidents because we don't have to go all the way down. We also welcome back Miss Iris in person. She's been teaching at our preschool program for, I believe, over 5 years. And then we have 9 participants at the age of 3. So those are the students that we would expect to either come again next year or that are not going to be quite ready for kindergarten yet. And then 12 of them are 4. They're a bit divided between some who will be old enough for kindergarten TK and some that might just miss the cutoff and do another year of preschool. And then again, kind of same as summer, we had 29% of them are non-residents and 71% are residents. So we have a pretty consistent balance between those. But it's been really awesome being back, and we can't wait to see them again tomorrow morning.
All right, and the last thing, wanted to update the commission about our Parents' Night Out events. So these are events where either we hold them in conjunction with other events that are coming up, like the upcoming Lunafest or the city's 60th anniversary, or we just offer them as a way for parents to hand off their kids for one night and do whatever it is they would like to do child-free. So we are currently planning events, Parents' Night Out events for the 25th of September. That one has actually already been opened for registration online, and also for October 23rd. Those will be in conjunction with the upcoming Lunafest and the city's 60th anniversary celebrations, as I just mentioned. So for those ones, those are adult-only events. So this is a way for parents to not have to worry about finding a babysitter or anything like that. They can bring their kids to our programs where they are familiar with our rec leaders already, and have a night where we provide food and a movie and some activities and things like that for them. We also will be planning upcoming events for the winter and spring as well. Typically those correlate with around the start of the winter holidays, as well as Valentine's Day, potentially spring break, just kind of wherever those line up. We try to space them out so that there's always something to look forward to. I believe that is the end of our presentation. Did anybody have any questions about anything that we talked about?
No, it was very detailed, and looking at like all the numbers, it's great that everybody is sending their kids, and just feeling a little bit comfortable, like with, so showing that they show a lot of trust in the park and rec, and like a lot of the trust in that program. So it's great. I think also I have a kid also that's part of the lit program. Was that also, I didn't see anything like that. Are there any like feedback on how the leadership and training, how that program did this summer? Or
yeah, I didn't add that to the presentation, but I can certainly speak on that. So we had 7 leaders in training signed up for our summer program. The leaders in training are middle school students who come and help out. They work with our recreation leaders to learn how to, organize activities, interact with the kids. It's a great learning opportunity for them to see what it's like to have that kind of responsibility in a relatively low risk environment. Mm-hmm. So we had 7 of them signed up. Not all of them stayed for every summer session, but I think we always had at least 3 in each session. So some of them were there for the whole summer. Some of them were there for just a few weeks. Yeah, we had a really strong showing with them. We were really happy to see that after we didn't have any LITs last summer, that we still were able to get a good handful this summer to help out. We heard back from them and their parents that they had a great time. They learned a lot. I know that the campers really enjoyed having them around. We got a lot of that in the parent feedback as well, that the parents were happy with the older kids interacting with their children, and certainly our staff really appreciated having them around as well. That's just a few more hands around to help set up games, to look after the kids, especially on the walk to the pool. Having a few extra set of eyes is really important. So they were definitely a big help to us this summer. We certainly appreciated having them back.
Great to hear. Any other comments, questions?
I just have a comment. Thank you very much for that presentation. I've heard from several parents that they just really appreciate the teachers and how good of a job they do. So they've told that to me, and I just wanted to say I'm really impressed with everything that you showed. I think it's great to have these services.
Yeah, thanks for the detailed update, and great job, Scott and Sarah. You guys have been busy.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. So if there are no other comments, we can move on to old business. It looks like our commission reorganization.
Yes, I know we probably feel like we just did this with Lyle's departure and having to reshuffle the commission, but given the absence of Renee and her seat on the commission as the vice chair, it is necessary to go ahead and do that again. So I will open up the conversation to the commission, but we do need to appoint officially a vice chair. And if that happens to be Lisa, and I'm not suggesting that, then you would also need to appoint a secretary in Lisa's place if she moves to that vice chair role. So with that, I will open it up to the commission, and I'm happy to answer questions if you have them.
Noreen, did you want to give like a quick description on the new vice chair? And
Sure. So the vice chair typically sits in place of the chair if they're absent for a meeting. So they would help to facilitate the meeting and work with staff to develop the agenda in advance. The secretary really only comes into play when the chair and vice chair are both not present. It does not happen very often, so it's really just kind of a backup seat to the backup. But there are opportunities throughout the year where there are meetings that the chair and the vice chair attend to represent the commission when it comes to city council. And so we're actually having one of those meetings on Friday this week, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But so there are some of those opportunities that where the chair and the vice chair will be asked to attend a meeting outside of the commission meeting, if it's a liaison meeting with the city council, but it's not typically a responsibility for the secretary.
And is there a time frame or like how long for a vice chair, like a year or 2-year commitment?
So typically we rotate every year. I do know that with our 2 vacant seats currently, and with a few people, I think it might be Natalie and Bonnie, your terms are set to be up in January of 2022. So there may be some additional shuffling of personnel on the commission, which might require an additional reorg, maybe in the spring of 2022. But typically when we do the commission reorganization, the seats are for 1 year.
Got it. Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Lisa or anybody, do you want to be vice chair?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I kind of expected it to happen because that was just kind of the order of things. And I'm not opposed to stepping into that position, if that's okay with people.
Should I nominate Lisa? Is that the right procedure?
So
I will nominate Lisa to be our vice chair.
And I will second that.
And then we all vote. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're in favor of Lisa becoming vice chair, Chairperson Ocampo?
Aye.
Commissioner Bologoff?
Aye.
Commissioner Kern?
Aye.
And Commissioner Sims?
Aye.
Congratulations, Lisa.
thank you, everyone.
Yay.
Yay.
Congratulations.
And now we need a new secretary. Is that the next step?
That's correct.
One or
So does anyone is it Bonnie? So we have Bonnie, Julie, Frank.
I'm happy to do it.
All right.
I'll nominate Frank.
I'll second.
Secretary.
Great. Any?
sorry, just writing down the notes.
So it was
Okay.
a nomination by
So
Julie.
we'll vote, sorry.
It was a nomination by
Sarah.
Yeah, nomination Julie, second Lisa.
Yes.
Okay.
Roll call.
So we will vote for Frank to be secretary, Chairperson Ocampo,
Aye.
Commissioner Greenlee, Commissioner Bologoff,
Aye.
and Commissioner Sims.
She said aye.
Congrats, Frank.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa and Frank.
Yeah. Thank you.
Congratulations. Can I ask a question though about this? Noreen, are we able to expand the commission since we've lost 2 commissioners, or do we just wait until January when people roll off to pick it up?
It depends on the situation. So there have been times in the past where council has elected to fill seats immediately. And there's other times where they've waited. They've elected to wait until to do a larger recruitment, knowing that there's additional terms that were going to be up instead of running 2 recruitments back to back. But they also like to try and pair those commission and committee seat recruitments with other commissions and committees that might have vacant seats coming up, whether it be open space and ecology or the planning commission, so that they can do kind of a broader reach for recruiting. So I think, as I understand it, it's the intention of the council to start that recruitment and announcement process later this fall for an early 2022 interview process.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so the next item is garden show recap.
So I will just quickly jump in, and then I'm going to hand the floor to Lisa, who has been the champion of this event. And we have just kind of followed her guidance and expertise and wisdom. But truly, it was such a wonderful turnout, and all of the feedback we've received has been overwhelmingly positive, and people saying things like, that was just the little bit of joy that I needed, to get me through to the week and to have something to look forward to. And people are already asking when we're doing the next one. So we'll be doing it again. But I do want to give praise to Lisa and her efforts to kind of bring some volunteers together and to just have the overall vision for the event and be able to revive something that was a long-standing tradition for Brisbane and really did bring a lot of smiles on the day of. So thank you, Lisa, for all your hard work to make it happen. And I'll let you kind of give a more in-depth overview of the event itself.
Okay, well, we had a garden show. It was by the seat of our pants, but we did it. And the one thing I kind of learned, just an overview of this thing, was that if you want something to happen in this town, this staff is so supportive and this commission has been very supportive that you just got to grab that football and carry it down the field. And so because I didn't expect it to be a really huge deal. I figured that me and a few staff and some quality volunteers could get it done, because it isn't rocket science. It's not a big deal. You just need a space, you need categories. Anyways, so I'll go through these little bullet points. Marketing, I pretty much only did Facebook because that's kind of the only way I could figure out how to get it out into the public and get a buzz. And it seemed to work really well, but I had to be on it a lot. I was kind of a pest, but anyways, yeah. The categories I'd set up categories. I didn't know if they would work or not. I felt like the art category, the garden art, the garden photography would have some really interesting entries, and it really didn't. We barely had anything. So I'm not sure we'll continue that category in the future, but the plants were wonderful. And the kid category that was just show us what you've got was wonderful. We got a really good response from the kids. The equipment and supplies, the setup was really easy. The staff showed up the day before, and literally I set it up myself with Jeff, and it took me just a couple hours. It was just set up tables. That was it. Decorations. We had fake flowers donated by the G3 group. Sue Cochran came through with a big bag of flowers that we festooned the whole area with, pretty much to show people where the garden show is happening. We kind of tried to make a presence out in the street. So when people were driving by, Jeff put up a sign in the middle of the street. We had my old garden goddess painting out there. And so people were able to see where it was, and that was fun. We had tablecloths from Sarah, I think, from her personal stash and from the city, and that was great. Got a lot of compliments on the decorations, but it was just a lot of fun. My ex-husband, John Greenlee, I have to give him a lot of credit, because for years and years and years, we did the San Francisco Garden Show, and it was a lot of setup. It was a lot of decorating. It was a lot of, making gardening, making a place that, like the Cow Palace, it's not a garden, making it into a garden. And because of that experience with him, this was such a tiny little example that it was really easy. And I think we can build on the success of what we did. The prizes and awards, we recycled old ribbons from the old garden club because Barbara Ebel, bless her, rescued them from being thrown out when the old garden club staff was throwing them out. She just picked them up and stuffed them in her garage. So we had a bunch of ready-made ribbons in lots of different categories: first, second, third, honorable mention, special announcement, all these. So everybody had a ribbon, and that was really fun. I created some special ribbons for special things like Best in Show and Best Bloom. And then the kids category got a really fun cartoony ribbon. And those three ribbons I just made the night before, and they were really fun. I think in the future, I'd like to have custom ribbons or something made that was a little more official. We just kind of went with what we had, and that was fine. Let's see. The judging was, like I said, a little by the seat of our pants. I grabbed a couple of friends of mine who are horticulturally astute, and we were happy that we didn't have to only pick one first prize, because there were so many people who did such great things. Sometimes we gave multiple first prizes, but everybody, the quality of the entries were amazing, I just got to say. And the Best in Show was astounding. I mean, I really learned something about the gardeners in Brisbane. They're very, very good. They can really do it. Next year, I did have a side conversation with Councilperson Davis, and she mentioned that next year, maybe we could possibly work with the Chamber of Commerce and get some local businesses to donate some prizes for some of the winners, and also just kind of make it more of a promotional community building event that also brings in some of our local businesses, which I think would be great. But I love having just a homegrown garden show that got people excited about getting in their gardens. And next year, I really hope, and I only want to do this once a year. I know people are saying, well, maybe we do it in the spring and the fall. And it's like, it's hard to pick that perfect time of year, but I think we were pretty close. You know, late summer, people had lots of good flowers and still had some really good vegetables and fruit. And so just timing it for maximum garden bounty, I think, is really important. But anyways, it was a lot of fun, and I look forward to continuing it. And next year we'll do it even bigger. So thanks for the support. Staff was great. Miss Iris and Jeff, amazing. They just stepped up and did everything. It made it so easy. My son and Cassandra and Jennifer, the librarian Jennifer, all of them, they were all great. So props to everybody. Thanks.
Congratulations, Lisa. That just sounds so awesome. And I know my husband went and took many pictures that he shared with me, and then I had to post on social media because I was blown away. So really just wonderful. I love it. And definitely I will help you with promotion next year. So mark me. But not that I didn't think you did a fantastic job. I knew about it. I saw it on Facebook. I saw it everywhere. So.
Yeah, but it was hard to know like the level of success or excitement or engagement with the community. So I kind of feel like this year we felt it out, but next year I'll definitely use your talents in that direction.
It was great. I have the biggest mum picture, and then the carrot was hilarious.
Bloom.
We couldn't hear what you just said, Lisa.
Oh, you couldn't? Can you hear me?
Now
no?
We can.
Oh, can you hear me? That's weird.
You just cut out for a sec, yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say that bloom was a dahlia. It was a giant
Oh, that's
dahlia.
right, a dahlia. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was. It was great.
Thank you so much for that recap. I know, like, seeing it all over social media and the praises that we've seen, especially I think in the newsletter as well. We wanted to thank you for all of your hard work and putting that all together. It's such a big event. I didn't realize how much actually went into like a garden show with, you know, all the coordination of categories and ribbons and the decor. So thank you so much.
Also, just as far as facilities go, because we always use the community center in the past, I did it at the community center, but I understand from people in the community that the new library has a really wonderful new space, a community space. I haven't seen it yet, but people have told me that would be a really great place to have it maybe next year, kind of update a little bit. So.
I think it basically brings like an indoor space to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be wonderful.
So thank you for sharing all that. New business. So it looks like work plan review and establish talking points with the liaison meeting with City Council. So there's a City Council subcommittee meeting on September 10th. And there's an attachment for this.
Yeah. So Lisa and Natalie will be meeting with the City Council liaisons this Friday for their annual liaison meeting. And we thought it would make sense to share with Council the video that we created for National Parks and Recreation Month, just to kind of highlight what we've done over the past year and a half, but also to use it as an opportunity to share the Commission's work plan with the Council so that they have a sense of what we're working on and the goals we're trying to achieve over the next couple of years. I think it might be helpful for us. I'll pull it up on my share screen in just a minute, but I thought it would be helpful for the commission to have some conversation around priorities on the work plan and what, top 2 or 3 things we want to tackle in the short term. Some of the things on there are a little bit more long term. So I'll go ahead and pull that up and we can go through. And if you have any proposed edits as well, you can let me know those at this time. Give me just one moment here. Are you able to see my share screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we broke this out into 2 goals, one of them being innovative and adaptive programming, and the second being facility improvements. So under each, there are several different strategies that we outlined for the commission, those being a focus on outdoor opportunities, expansion of the preschool program and exploration of licensing, evolution of the Smile Brisbane campaign, collaboration with neighboring agencies and private organizations to bring more recreational opportunities and competitive sports to residents, considering a post-pandemic needs assessment survey, creating a plan to address mental health and physical wellness within the community, and considering new opportunities for senior programs. And as you'll see underneath each of those strategies, there's some specific activities that we've discussed previously. And I tried to go through and kind of highlight the various status for each action or activity, and just a general thought regarding time frame for completion. This is totally a living document that can be updated as we work through things and as the commission has feedback regarding what those priorities might be. Underneath facility improvements, we identified walkways, beautification, new opportunities at Sierra Point in the marina, completing outstanding facility projects, facility maintenance list, and prioritization. So I don't know if it's just easier to look at one strategy at a time and then kind of pick it apart and provide input as you have it, or if you want to kind of just popcorn the conversation and share what your thoughts are regarding priorities for the commission over the next couple of years. I'll leave it here for a minute.
Thank you.
Noreen, I'm just curious, one question about the dog park resurfacing. When is that expected to be complete? It says 3 months.
Yeah, so we have the new vendor on board. We had to release the initial contractor that was awarded the bid and go back to council to re-award to the second lowest bidder. So we now are under contract with them. Steve and I are meeting with the contractor every other week. We had a meeting with her yesterday. We've started some of the site preparation work and clearing debris. We had people out there working on site last week. They also installed the new shade structure. So we're hoping to get final designs for the resurfacing by next week. And they are looking at a time frame for on-site construction early October.
So when would it be complete? If we,
I mean, I would say the middle of October, maybe late October,
okay,
on the safe side. They don't anticipate, once they're on site, their scope of work shouldn't take more than a week to complete. But there might be some fine tuning that we need to do on our end before we open it up to the public. And then I anticipate that City Council might want to do like a ribbon cutting or reopening ceremony for the public as well.
That's what I was thinking. I think it'll be a big moment and really fun. We could even do a doggy, since it'll be near Halloween, maybe costume contest.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great. I was wondering also about the design. I don't know if it's already been put to bed as far as what the design is of the dog park, but I noticed that a lot of the foliage has been really taken out of that place. Anything growing is not being watered, which is fine. I realize there's going to be artificial turf, but it was still nice to have some trees and bushes around, and now everything is gone. So I was just wondering if there's going to be any landscaping in that area.
Yeah, so we did leave a couple of the more mature trees, so they're still there, and it helps kind of provide some additional shade, especially on the south end. There's this seating area with lots of really great shade. The removal that occurred was mostly for things that were dead or overgrown or not maintained, and we felt that made the most sense to remove it while we're kind of trying to establish a clean slate. I anticipate that there might be some minor landscaping that we incorporate once the resurfacing is down, but that's something that we can also consider adding in the future if there was a desire to do so.
Yeah, it just, like, I love the roses. The roses are gone. I understand the bamboo are probably problematic, but yeah, it just looks so barren. But I don't know, maybe when we get the turf in. And I definitely think the beautification committee can go in there and make it a little nicer after it's been installed, and then we can see what we can do.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, that's a great question on the dog park. I know that comes up a lot in the community. Yeah. So, and then as far as like the completion, like with the city signboards, that's just came out. It looks like last week or 2 weeks ago. So it looks great. I don't know if there's been any feedback from the community on that.
Yeah, so we completed the installation of the e-ink signboards on the ridge a few weeks ago, and then they came last week to install the ones at the community park. We are still troubleshooting. It's a new system, and there's some issues on the content management side with the connections to the unit itself, and the SIM card and AT&T. So we're trying to flesh out all of those details. We're hoping by the end of this week or early next week that we'll be fully up and running. It'll be really nice to be able to manage the content remotely and not have to have one of our staff go out there with a oversized staple gun to staple the science to the board. So we're looking forward to the increased capacity for messaging that the units will provide, and just the ability to provide emergency messaging on a moment's notice. So we are still kind of fleshing out those last little details, but we hope within the next week or so that we will be 100% up and operating. So.
Right, and I think like the messaging right now on the boards that you guys have currently are like key. So like the speed limit, and then the vaccines, and the things that are going on. So again, that's good. So great job. Anything else? Anybody have any feedback or comments?
Well, as far as the maintenance of the facilities, there's not really any kind of list. And when we toured the facilities, is there a list that's just not shown here?
What kind of list are you referring to?
Oh, all the maintenance that's been deferred for the last couple of years that needs to happen on, especially Mission Blue Center. But also, priorities, like what, because I know these things take a lot of time. They take a lot of time, and I just think that if we don't put them on a list and get them attended to, they won't happen. And then the longer maintenance is deferred in buildings like that, the worse it gets. We all know.
Yeah, and that's the reason this is on the list, both from a staff perspective and a commission perspective, and hearing the feedback from the public as well. We've recognized that that's a significant need. So what we were doing prior to the pandemic, when people were actively using our facilities more, was staff was conducting regular quarterly audits of each facility, where they would walk through and check every doorknob, every light switch, every light bulb, all of the restrooms and sinks, and make sure everything was in working order, and then establish a list that could go into a queue for any maintenance needs that were necessary for each respective facility. But just to have a larger, broader maintenance plan is something that we've identified as a need and a want. And so that's the reason that it's on this list, and that's something that we can definitely work towards.
Yeah, I would say just when we look at prioritization, I'm kind of with Lisa that like there seems to be, some ways we could just make things look better through some landscaping and design in that way that it seems like low hanging fruit to me, although I hate to say that because I know a lot of work goes into these things, but it seems like the thing that could have a really nice payoff in terms of people's enjoyment of the area. So I would say if we are prioritizing that I would put some weight behind that. The other one I'm really interested in, and I'm interested in my fellow commissioners, is the innovation, like kind of the exploring some park equipment rentals. And I'm curious more than anything, like if that's an issue that we see that families or children might really take us up on that and be more inclined to use some of these facilities if they had access to the equipment. I'm thinking like tennis rackets and different things that they could easily get from the library. So I'm just curious if we've seen that kind of need.
They think that
you're talking, but I can't hear you.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, I just wondered if the staff has like we had such good success bringing out the equipment for the games that we played this year for the Park and Rec month, and if they felt like there was some equipment that we could acquire that people could have access to. I think that would be really a great addition to encouraging people to use equipment and try new sports. But I would have to ask staff if they felt that and how that would work.
And I think it's like something that can mimic what the library has, where they rent a Wi-Fi hotspot or rent a laptop. Is that what you meant, Lisa? But like with the tennis rackets, right? Or a basketball or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've lost everybody. Like I can't see who's here anymore.
We can hear you though.
We can hear and see you. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Sorry, I'm blanking on names. Can Chairperson Kern talk about his experience with that?
With the equipment rentals?
Yeah, didn't you just say something like that happened in Chicago?
Yeah, in Chicago, if you had a valid library card, there was actually an activity section within the library. Now, these are pretty big libraries, but you could get everything from a fishing pole to a tennis racket. You could check out a scooter. You could check out, it was almost limitless. It was kind of crazy. So yeah, I think it's great. And I agree with Julie. And I'm like, this is kind of a fun thing. And I think that we have, got the bandwidth to try something like this. I'm dying to get some friends together to play pickleball, and I would immediately check out that pickleball set. So I think that there is something to this here. And I think we should explore that.
We'll let you borrow our pickleball stuff, Frank.
Frank, I'm interested in pickleball too. So
we are working on some pickleball programs too. So
excellent.
They're in the works. Yeah. And I think I mentioned this before when this came up, that there are some companies out there that they have like lockers that they situate in parks, and you can rent equipment by the hour, and you scan a QR code with your phone and you just put it back in when you're done. So we can certainly explore that, or explore the opportunity of rental equipment through the Park and Rec department. But I wouldn't say that we've gotten a lot of feedback from residents as that being a desire or a want, but that might not indicate whether or not there's a need, but just that they don't know whether they can ask. So that might be a question that if we are going to move forward with like a needs assessment survey to the community, that could be a question that we include through that survey process.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that, Noreen. I think that's fantastic feedback. For me, in terms of priorities, since the last needs assessment survey was done in 2017, and we're living in but hopefully soon a post-pandemic world, I think that everyone's going to have a different take on what Parks and Rec means to them and what they're looking for the program. So for me, that would be a really high priority, is to get a super granular survey out there to really give us some good ideas on planning going forward. Secondarily, I absolutely agree with Lisa. We have got to come up with some sort of facility maintenance plan, even if it's just a prioritized list. And I think you said earlier on in this call, you were looking for ideas that could carry us out, 3 years in terms of like planning. That's something we could definitely space out either on priority, on, what kind of budget we have, something like that. Because, Mission Blue really does need a lot of help these days. Actually, all the facilities need a little bit of love. So, that's pretty big to me. And then again, the park equipment rentals or checking out from the library would be number 3. That's just in my opinion.
I totally agree with Frank that the survey, especially if we are looking for some equipment rentals, like what kind of equipment do people most want to rent and how would we pilot that? So I think that would be a good thing. And I think we're all kind of coalescing around the maintenance and beautification. I'm interested, Bonnie, what do you think?
I think it sounds good to be able to rent sports equipment.
Yeah, I think it could be fun.
It could be fun. Like you say, pickleball.
Awesome. Natalie, what are you thinking?
I definitely agree. Especially like if we're trying to make, we want to make sure that we're inclusive. And, I know like there are like groups going around where people are asking, hey, can anyone have soccer cleats or things like that? But I think like with the minimal of like tennis rackets or, things where basically you just need it for the day, I think that would be helpful, rather than go buy and, and I guess like the concern would be obviously like knowing what kind of equipment's needed, and then also making sure that the equipment will be, maintained and, maintained basically from when you borrowed it from the beginning, and, like saying a bicycle or something like that, or maybe a guitar. I don't know why I say guitar when this like for Park and Rec, it's just making sure that everything is like in, comes back in one piece, and, if there's like an insurance or something that, I don't know how much or, so I think it's a great idea. And I think like with our community, starting like with our community, I think everybody is very, I think everybody's very careful with things, and they want to take care of what we have here. So I think it's a great idea.
Okay. So I think what I heard and what I wrote down as the top priorities from the work plan in the near future are exploring the possibility for equipment rentals, exploring further a facility maintenance plan and beautification, right, and a needs assessment survey. Did I have that correct?
And I think like with equipment rental, I think that's something that can definitely be like easy, like, a complete, what do you call it, time frame for completion. So, but I also agree like with the facilities as well. I think we didn't explore like the marina, like the kayaking, like something like that. I know that's like that's a huge, big characteristic besides having our mountains and the trails. But I think that our marina is something that should be utilized a little bit more with our community. But I don't know how we can actually get there. I know we've been in talks with like the marina and stuff, but so I guess it's like figuring out what to tackle first as far as like the facility maintenance. So, but I definitely do want to see the marina being like in use, because it is a very it's a perfect like a location. It's something that not a lot of cities have. So.
Just real quick, if I could speak to that, Natalie. So the city is working towards a master plan for Sierra Point open space and parks. So we have a city-owned parcel out there at the marina that is along the bay. It's about 4 acres that is slated to be developed for park and open space use. And so City Council had directed staff to put out a solicitation for letters of interest to firms who would be interested in submitting a proposal for coming on board as the landscape architect or park planner for that project. Previously, the commission had nominated Renee to sit on that subcommittee and to be the representative from Parks and Rec Commission, because they will have a stakeholder group that is more involved in the process once we get the ball rolling with the commission and with other committees and commissions as well. So in our next meeting, we will need to appoint a replacement for Renee to sit on that subcommittee. But it is exciting to see that we are moving forward and that we are making progress towards developing that area. And I think that there will be ample opportunities for the commission to provide input as to how the space is utilized and how to best expand our recreational footprint there for residents to really be able to utilize the space. So,
right. Thanks for that update.
Sure.
I also just had a question about the sports and how they're going along. I think soccer started back up, but I'd like to know what's going on with youth and adult sports. Can anyone on staff tell us?
Yeah.
Because I know COVID, everything kind of stopped, Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because it was actually scheduled to be included in my department report, but I'll share now.
Okay.
We've had an extremely robust turnout for adult softball in the spring and the summer this year. We've had more teams than we've ever had. So I think that's very telling, in that people are excited to get back out there and to be doing things that are, outdoors and relatively safe with their peers. So we are going to continue that momentum for adult softball into the fall. As I mentioned, Ricardo is working with somebody on setting up some various pickleball classes and programs and leagues, and we'll be also setting up days and times where we can just put out the equipment and invite the community to come and play at their leisure. As far as youth sports are concerned, school just started back up. So Ricardo is working on a lot of youth sports programming and planning right now. He has elementary and middle school flag football starting up, as well as middle school volleyball.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, because we are small and not big enough to have a league of our own. We participate in leagues with San Bruno, Daly City, South San Francisco, and Millbrae. So those are the upcoming fall youth sports that we have.
Is Brisbane going to be getting some paid coaches in some sports, or no?
We have in the past paid contracted coaches. I don't know what the status is for this upcoming fall season. But Ricardo will be here to talk to the commission for his sports program presentation later this fall.
Okay, great. I'll look forward to that.
Yeah.
Sorry, just one other question while we're on the recreation thing. Have we changed the pool hours on the weekends, or did those change?
Well, Jeff is still here, so if he's not just hiding from his camera and actually sitting at his computer, he might.
And Jeff, I'm just asking because I've had some feedback that people would like the pool to be open earlier on the weekends. And I don't know whether it changed or if it's new, but I just wanted to ask about that.
Our pool hours changed for fall. So the middle of August, when summer ended, we switched to fall hours. And we start with a couple hours of lap swim on the weekends, followed by a rec swim. So lap swim would be 10 to around noon, and then rec swim currently is 12 to 3. And then on Saturdays, we do have a 3:15 to 5:15, as well as a 5:30 to 7:30 time slots that people can rent out the pool for pool parties.
I have been really enjoying when I'm on the soccer field, hearing the people at night in the pool and the kids. It's just such an awesome thing, because it stays open till 8, which I think is great. I'm curious if we receive other feedback, because I do know people like to kind of get their laps in early. It might be something for us to think about. And I don't know whether this is just one individual or multiple people. So that might be something we add to the survey.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. All right, moving on to reports. So I don't have, so chairperson, I do not have anything. Subcommittees, so we have a couple of events. So we had the events meeting held on July 20th. So any updates from that?
I was on the events committee. Who else was on that? Anybody? Okay. Was that just me?
It might have been Renee also. And that one was so long ago, I think the bulk of it was probably intended to plan for the garden show.
Yeah, it was funny because from what I remember, and I forgot my notes, from what I remember, it was pretty sparse. And then I said, okay, garden show, we're doing it. And it was so spur of the moment. It was like, oh, it's coming up, but it worked. So that just goes to show that if you want to do something, don't worry about the schedule, just do it, that's the main thing.
Right. Thank you. For the next one is Day in the Park and Derby. There was a meeting held on July 26th. I think I was on that. Let's see. Yeah. So it looks like myself.
Me. Bonnie
and Frank.
And myself as well.
Yes. I have July. In the park. Don't have. Do you have any updates or like any updates from that meeting? I'm trying to look. I
think that I think we spent a good chunk of time just talking about how the layout was going to be for this year's Day in the Park, which is going to be very different than the way it was handled in the past. And staff was exploring different options to really space some things out and maybe sort of rearrange how things were done before. That's what I recall from the meeting. That was what we spent some time on.
Yeah, and it looks like there was discussions on I guess the kid area. Was it I don't know, was it jumpers? I can't remember. I'm trying to find my
No inflatables.
Yeah, no inflatables this year.
Right. No inflatables, and then food trucks, right? There will be food trucks.
That's what we're hoping.
And then
jump in and help out with that. Yeah. So to reiterate, we're not going to have inflatables. Activities for the kids will be family games. We have confirmed that there will be a pump track at the Day in the Park, so that'll be an activity for kids as well. We just passed the deadline for our booths, and I just sent a reminder out as well. Currently, we have about 12 community booths that have confirmed. We still have a few others that may trickle in this week. We extended the deadline to this Friday. So in the past, we've had up to 20, 25 booths. So we are seeing less participation from the community groups, commercial groups, and arts and crafts vendors. We do have some of each, but definitely a smaller number. And the plan is, yes, to have food trucks. And I know the Lions will have their food as well. But basically, we're trying to make it the same, but it'll definitely be a smaller scale and things will be more spread out.
Right. And then I guess for the Derby portion of it, there's a couple of Derby clinics. There was a communication that was sent out in our Brisbane community newsletter on purchasing a kit and to register for those. So.
I don't have exact numbers. I do know the last time I talked with Steve, participation numbers were low, but it's kind of like that every year where it ramps up like the couple weeks leading up to the Derby. So hopefully that falls in line and we get enough people to be able to run the Derby, but usually enough people sign up prior to.
Right. I think a lot of the families are trying to figure out sports and their game schedule.
Do we have an old Derby car that we could park at the concert, near the concerts at the park on Sunday, and just generate interest and have people
we
ask about it or sign up or anything like that?
We have one that has, it's like blue and white. That's like the city of Brisbane. I know Dan Sorrentino has it right now because he has it to be a demonstration for the workshops. So I either coordinate with him. We have another Derby car in storage, but it's more of a custom one, but I could definitely put it out there as well.
It could be a fun way to generate interest and then get people get about it.
That's a great idea. I also know the hardware store has several hanging on the ceiling. You might talk them out of some of them.
Right. Okay. Next, if there's no other updates for that, the Lunafest, that meeting was held on June 26th. Any updates from that meeting that attended?
Yeah, and we also had a meeting last week as well.
Last week, yeah.
So Noreen, I wasn't able to attend last week's meeting, so I'll rely on you to give an update if you don't mind.
Sure, happy to. So there was some concern from subcommittee members about holding an indoor event with 100 people, given the Delta variant and people's level of comfort with an indoor event and serving food and wearing masks, and whether or not that was the best approach for this year as we've gotten closer to the event. And so ultimately the subcommittee has decided to relocate the event outdoors. So I spoke with the superintendent of the school district, and they're willing to allow us to use the upper BES field for the event. So we're going to move forward with pushing for an outdoor event that will be held on the same day, on the 25th of September at 7 p.m. It will just be outdoors on the field below the stars with an inflatable screen, and the lovely Sharon Boggs has volunteered herself to do sound and AV, and the Lions Club will still serve some kind of low-key refreshments that will be available for purchase, and beer and wine will be available for purchase. But we will be moving the event outdoors. And so we've modified the website and all of our marketing materials to reflect that change, and tickets are available for sale on Eventbrite. So that's the latest.
Are we also doing, having the event available virtually also? Yeah.
Yes, that's a great point. We are. So we're still offering a virtual screening option. So if people are more comfortable watching it from the comfort of their homes, they can absolutely do that.
Thanks for that update. Do we need to, the next item under subcommittees is setting up any future meetings? Do we need to set anything up for upcoming, anything for December? I know right now we have our concerts in the park right now, and that's kicked off last Friday. And I guess the next one is Day in the Park and Derby. Do we need to have a update or a meeting for that?
I don't know. It's been since July since we talked. I don't know.
Jeff, did you want us to schedule just something right before? Or should we hold off until?
Oh. I think it would make sense for the committee to meet one more time before the event. We're less than a month away. So if there's any remaining details that need to be worked out, I think it would make sense to do that.
Sure. Frank, Bonnie, what days and times are you guys free next week?
I can do post 5 o'clock any day. I am going out of town on the 16th, and I'll be gone the 16th through the 19th. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday would work for me. Bonnie, how about you?
Tuesday doesn't work for me.
Okay.
Okay, Natalie, Monday or Wednesday?
Monday and Wednesday at 5 o'clock works for me.
Okay.
So what's better? But you want Wednesday?
Wednesday's probably better for staff and for public noticing, because we need 72 hours to get that.
Okay.
Great.
So if we can get the September 15th. Go ahead, Bonnie.
Wednesday, 5 o'clock.
Yes. On September 15th. And then you guys will send out a calendar invite.
Yes.
And then are there any other subcommittee meetings that are needed?
The Lunafest subcommittee is scheduled to meet next Tuesday at 4.
Got it.
And then as far as timeliness with subcommittees, I think the only other time sensitive one, and this could possibly wait until after our next regular commission meeting, is the Festival of Lights.
Got it. Okay.
So Noreen, we're all set for concerts in the park. I know they're kicking off.
Yes, they're up and running.
Okay.
They had the DJ dance party last week at the park, and the first Sunday concert is this coming Sunday.
Right.
I will be there.
Yay.
I was wondering if we could schedule the facilities, a facilities meeting for the maintenance list. I think that we took a tour, but we never really took it any further. How do you feel about that, Frank? Aren't you on that committee also?
Well, I think it's you and me. We're the tag team. We are the committee. So.
All right, we're the committee. All right, so we just need to set up a meeting with staff and get that list going, I think.
Yeah, you know what? Can we do that after Day in the Park and the Derby? Like maybe the week after that?
Oh yeah, I just want to do it before the end of the year for sure.
Yeah, got it. Makes perfect sense.
So we can, if you want, we can go ahead and schedule that at our next regular commission meeting, which I think is...
Yeah, that works, Noreen. That's perfect.
The 13th. So our meeting's October 13th.
Yeah, just put that on the agenda.
Great.
Great. Okay. And then are there any other subcommittee meetings, Noreen, that we have to set up this month, or are we good?
I think we're good.
All right, perfect. Any commissioners' reports?
Here.
Noreen, any staff? I know you made a report earlier.
Yeah, I just have a couple of things because we've already touched on a couple of those. We've opened registration for our fall swim lessons. They are rapidly filling up just like they did for summer. I think there's probably only space in a couple of the higher levels, but Jeff is looking into the feasibility of adding a couple of additional instructors so that we can expand classes and kind of accommodate those people that are already on the wait list for those lower level classes. So we're working on that. I shared with you what's coming up for youth sports. Upcoming events, as mentioned, concerts in the park on the 12th, 19th, and 26th. Lunafest on the 25th, Day in the Park and Derby on October 2nd. We're also working with the library and city council to do a kind of reopening event at the library, and in conjunction with the city's 60th anniversary party on October 23rd. So we are knee deep in special event planning on staff side. And then we'll have Festival of Lights coming up as well. So that's the update from the department. Our next commission meeting, the items that I have for the agenda are the reassignment for the subcommittee that Renee has vacated, and any other shuffling of subcommittee assignments if there's a desire to do so. We'll have a program area presentation from Jeff on aquatics, and a report out from the council liaison meeting. And then we'll also schedule our the facilities subcommittee at that meeting as well.
Great. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the commission matters. Are there any written communications? Nope.
No, we don't have any written communications.
Thank you. Commission calendar, we good on that?
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. So our next regular scheduled meeting is October 13th, 2021. And will that also be a hybrid meeting that we should plan on as well? Okay, got it. All right, so we can adjourn this meeting at 7:59 p.m. On September 8th, 2021. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.